twos! Welcome back to our online art lessons for week 7. This week we are continuing on with our hot air balloon, our paper mache hot air balloon. So today what I'm going to be showing you is how to get our balloon out of our paper mache, how to trim the edges so that they're nice and smooth, how to draw a design onto our hot air balloon, and then how to go about painting our hot air balloon. Now, if you haven't finished paper mache, do not stress. You can keep going with that this week. You can keep going with that next week. Work at your own pace. You do not have to get everything done each week, because I know it's a bit messy. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. Feel free to also do the other art activity that I've been posting for those who aren't able to do paper mache. And if you do not have paint this week to paint your hot air balloon, do not stress, because I'm going to show you a couple of nifty tricks of how to make some homemade paint. It's not as good as proper paint, but it does the job. And failing that, you can also always use textures. They don't come out as clearly, but remember, this is papier mache, but it is using paper. So you can draw on it just the same as you can draw on any type of paper. So let's have a look at what we need this week. This week you will be needing your paper mache balloon. You'll need a pair of scissors in order to get our balloon out of our paper mache, and also to trim the scraggly edges. You'll need a marker to draw your design onto your hot air balloon. You can also use a pencil or any sort of marker that you have at home. You will need some newspaper. This is handy just to have around. We're going to put it over the counter when we're painting. It keeps the area nice and tidy. You will also need some paints. Now I'm using just plain old acrylic paints. I also have some paintbrushes there ready to go. I have a plastic plate ready to use as my palette, so I can put my paints onto my plastic plate, and I've got some more newspaper here ready to go. And if you do not have any paint, I'm going to show you how to make some out of our plain flour and water paper mache glue mixture, so we can make up some more of that, or you might have some left over from last week. Or another nifty trick is to use shaving foam. Sounds a bit funny, but it does actually work. Have some bowls ready to go for mixing those up, and as always, have some cloths and sponges ready to go, just in order to prevent any messes. Alrighty, so what we need to do now is get our balloon out of our paper mache. I want everyone to have an adult with them when they're doing this, or get an adult to do it for you, because it can be very tricky and we need to use scissors for this part. Don't be tempted to just pop the balloon, because we don't want to damage any of the work that we've done. If you're feeling particularly brave or you want an adult to do it for you, I guess you could pop it, but I'm not going to, because I don't like popping balloons. So adults, wherever you are, what you want to do is you want to pull up the knot of the balloon and pinch the slack of the balloon underneath it. So you can see I'm pulling up the knot and I'm pinching with my fingers underneath the knot. So the knot's there and I'm pinching underneath. Then with some scissors, try and just cut a little piece, a little bit of the balloon that's between your fingers and the knot. And I've just cut the whole thing off, but that's okay. And then this whole time you need to be pinching the balloon. Now I can slowly lift out my fingers. Don't just let it go straight away. And you can hear the air starting to come out of that balloon. Then once it gets small enough, I can let it go into my balloon casing. And then just reach in and pull it out. And because I used that oil, it hasn't stuck to the balloon at all. So I haven't damaged any of the inside of my balloon. Alrighty, fantastic. Next thing we need to do is, while we have the scissors with us, we want to just trim around that opening of the balloon. If it was very small and you need it to be a little bit bigger, now's your chance to make it bigger. But don't cut too much off, because once it's cut off, it doesn't come back. Alright, so once it's too big, we can't make it smaller. If it's too small, we can make it bigger by cutting it. Alrighty, now we need to tidy up this little bit of a mess that we've made before we move on. Now what we need to do is have a look at some designs for hot air balloons and start drawing our design onto our hot air balloon. So you can always Google hot air balloons or hot air balloon designs and click on images, and it will bring up a whole lot of picture examples. I've got a few pictures in the video explanation. I'm just going to make mine super duper simple. I'm going to put a circle at the top, then I'm going to have some sort of bendy lines coming out, and then I might have another. Everyone see that? Looks like a big flower, and that's on the very top of my balloon. I might have another set of lines that follows that. Adults, you can help out with this part. Get creative. Have a look at what designs you like. I think that's enough lines for now. How does that look? Alrighty, now it's time to mix up some paints if you don't already have paints ready to go. So make sure you have some newspaper down so that we're not making a big mess, and make sure you have all of your materials out and ready to go so that you're all organised. Alrighty, I've got my paints ready to go. Paintbrushes, water, and my newspaper down on my table, and my lines are drawn. I'm going to start off with just gently getting some paint on my paintbrush. I'm using white. Oh, this is our paper mache. Isn't it actually? What is it? Righty, clean my paintbrush, wipe it on my newspaper. Next colour, I'm going to go with orange. Alrighty, I keep going with my whole paper mache balloon. I can hold it from the inside, so put your hand inside the hot air balloon so that you can hold it from the inside. That might make it easier to paint. And then when it's all fully coloured in, place it somewhere to dry on a piece of newspaper, balancing on its bottom so that none of that paint rolls any. And then next week we are going to look at hanging a string from the top, hanging some strings from the bottom to suspend a basket from our hot air balloon. So have a look at the slides, you'll see what you'll need there.